This is NRL Boom Rookies.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of NRL Boom Rookies. I am Matt Bunga and alongside me, as always, Mitch Doyle.
Hello. G'day everybody.
You were really quick on that hello everybody.
G'day everybody, I say Bunga. That's the line.
And joining us once again for the second half of our expansion draft is Nick Campton. Welcome.
Hey everyone.
And George Clarke's here.
Hello.
All right, so before we get into the second half of our draft, if you haven't listened to the first half, what are you doing? Go back and listen to that. This won't make any sense.
That would be a weird move, wouldn't it?
Someone made a really dumb pick. You won't know who unless you go back and listen to it. But before we get into the second half, we're going to do the 11 through 17 Mitchell, then the 18th man, the Super League pick, and the Vibes pick, I believe, to round things out. Before we do that, the votes are closed for our Rookie Takes quarterfinals. So we've got a final four. And seeds 1 and 4 have made it through, Nick, but 3 and 2 have both been upset in the quarterfinals. So
I'm counting this as a net gain for the seed.
I think the committee has nailed this.
Seeing the number one seed in there just means that they've got something right.
Exactly right. So the number 1 seed defeated the number 23 seed, I think. Andrew Katsaris was the one that said...
Cinderella story.
Yeah,
you'll love to
made it to the Elite 8, a spirited run. What can you do?
We'll really help with recruitment.
Yeah, so the number 1 overall seed trundles on to the Final Four, and that is, of course, Most Gauche, some guy on Reddit, who, I'm going to read it again, his very racist rant against Latrell Mitchell, which starts with, so this guy kicks someone in the head, does multiple dirty hits on people, and now is taking a stand? Next time, take a stand and walk away, mate. Can apply that to the fucking internet as well. Can't believe this guy acts like he cares about anything other than himself. Hence why he only takes a stand against issues that make him look sort of okay. Just remember, kid, people don't attack and insult Latrell because he's Aboriginal. They do it because he's an arrogant, rich pain in the ass. And they will say whatever they know will hurt him. That just so happens to be his race or heritage. Into context, we shouldn't make fun of Cherry Evans' neck because that's his genetics. And that's his heritage. So anyone who supports Latrell also supports hating on Cherry Evans' neck. Pretty convenient that he finds some racist after he takes an imagined dump. Also, the fact that Fittler apparently has a no dickhead policy, trying to score some good boy points so he can play Origin. You see, he just bought a house for his mother. He's such a good boy, guys. Now he needs that Origin money now. Next season, I hear he's planning on breaking Pap's leg. We'll need to take down 5 racist and a Karen in one pen. Actually, the best idea for Latrell at this point is to buy Sheila Valley, get a sponsorship from Fortescue Metals to build a big iron statue of himself so he can have it positioned taking a dump on his dreams of ever winning a premiership without Tedesco. Again, the 6th paragraph of that, quite funny.
It really hits different in person.
The first 5, very upsetting.
I feel like I've just witnessed a hate crime.
Yeah, well, you
know
did.
What I mean? Like I didn't participate.
I think
but I was there when it happened.
What's this fella's name again? Most Gash?
Yeah.
Gauche. Gauche.
Most Gash would work as well.
Yeah, right.
I think he needs state council.
I doubt it, because this guy, Mitch, he's clearly a massive virgin. But anyway, he'll be up against...
No, like as in he's Gash, not he gets Gash.
Yeah, right, okay.
But he is Gash.
All right, and he'll be in the...
What a start to the show.
He'll be in the Final Four against Mark Levy, who wrote, I am a huge supporter of women's sport in this country, but I disagree with today's announcement from the QRL. The women's team will earn the same as the men from next year, but they don't bring in the same revenue. Would the QRL pay them $15,000 a game if it was a 3-game series? Would they, Nick? Would they?
This is a real Cinderella story, this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It felt a little bit of a team of destiny.
Well,
vibe.
he
Just let the
the
girls
fact that
play.
it came in after the NRL season finished, it was
Just
added late.
Just let the girls play, but not for too much money, but let them play.
But we want to see eyes up, heads up, backyard footy, right?
Yeah.
When the girls do play.
Yeah,
But only
exactly.
once.
But we've had the 3 and the 2 seeds go down to the 6 and 7 seeds, respectively, in the quarterfinals.
Well, that's just some good, honest McIntyre action there, bro.
Fuck, I've walked into that. So Glenn Allsop's gone through to the Final Four with, it's football. Why feel the need to push a culture? We don't have a non-Indigenous round, do we? We don't have a non-Indigenous round. We don't have a non-Indigenous comp. Why? Because we accept. Why is it others want their own comp and exclude other races? Curry knockout? Ever see a non-Curry knockout? Imagine the Outraw. Nick, can you imagine the Outraw?
We might have to put Outraw on a shirt.
Outraw is pretty
once
great.
all
George,
this is all said and done.
have you heard the word Outraw before? Probably not, because it's not a word.
No.
Okay. Mitchell, are you outrawed that this has made the Final Four?
I mean, outrawed when our good friend George Clarke from Clarke's column picked Tepai Moroa at pick 9. On his power rankings this preseason, you'll see where Tepai sits in the locks. It's up high.
Do a podcast with Kempy about that one, mate.
Yeah.
Kempy or Clarke? Who am I doing
Both.
a podcast
Get them both in the room. Anyway, And the other member of our final four is Margaret Gleason Martinez, who is a Dragons fan. After supporting this proud club for 60 years, I can't remember a time when I felt so disappointed and ashamed of our players. How can they be so brain dead as to do what they did on the weekend? I supported Jack DeBellin over the past few years, but he let us all and the club down in a big way over this stupid act. Well, the season is well and truly ruined now. Very sad day.
Like if you cry every time.
Yeah, every time. It gets me every time. What an emotional story. So that's our final four. I'll be putting up the poll some point in the next couple of days. If you want to be involved
Thank God Griffin got knocked out.
Yeah, exactly right. What a farce that it even got this far. But yeah, if you want to be involved, patreon.com/rookies to get voting rights, to submit your own rookie takes for next season, and to participate in the Coltrane Cup, access to a Discord server. Plenty of other benefits as well.
Here's a little glimpse behind the kimono, right? So there were the 4 quarterfinal matchups. The first 3 all had the same number of votes.
Yep.
And then the 4th one had 1 vote less. So one brave soul voted in the first 3 and then abstained.
I can't pick.
Sat on the
I
fence.
cannot pick.
I'm just glad that we didn't end up with a deadlock and then that one voter holding all the
He would be
power, 'cause
overcome. He or she would be overcome with grief.
that is democracy
Can
manifest.
I just also use this time before we go back into the draft to clarify a point?
Yep.
I was actually contacted by a colleague who said his friend listened to this podcast. My colleague is Fraser Barton. And
He's a
his
work
friend-
husband, we call these people.
He's putting him on blast.
And
He's putting his husband on
one
blast.
of his friends thought it's very funny that you guys compared me or likened me to Clarke/Dane Clarke from Clarke's
Oh,
NRL
you
column.
different people.
Well,
You're
no,
very,
it's-
you're very
it's his-
familiar with this Dane Clarke.
Well, yeah, it's his brother. It's his brother.
I would just like to place on record that me and that fella are not related.
The brothers of destruction. That's what they call
Oh,
it.
yeah, the takesman of Twitter.
I mean, if there were any Bungard Doyles or Camptons who played first grade, I could probably compare you all. But, yeah.
John Doyle
There were
was a
several
great
Doyles,
player.
I think. Yeah.
Origin hero John Doyle. Better pick than Tabai Marawa this year, actually.
So Millie Boyle, pretty close to Doyle.
Really was close.
All right. So let's move ahead.
Should we recap our teams? I think maybe we should.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking we should, but maybe we should.
All right.
For the
So
fans.
really quickly, George, you had the first overall pick. Why don't you run us through your first 10, your thought process, how you're feeling about everything?
So actually, maybe if I do it position-wise, so I'm still missing a fullback. I'm still missing one winger. I've got Paul Momorowski and Nick Kotrick as my two centres. I've got Ken Mamalo as one of my wingers. 6 and 7, I've got Scott Drinkwater and Jerome Hughes. Props are Moses Leota, Sia Siawar Takiaho. Josh Hodgson is at 9. Kurt Capel's one back row. The other is yet to be determined. My 13 is Tepa Maroa. And then we're over to Nicholas.
I just want to give a second for everyone to accept that in the year of our Lord 2021, picking a team for the year of our Lord 2023, George Clarke has selected Tepai Maroa, who was washed up 2 years ago.
Leave Tepai alone.
He was like, what's that? Is it Samson who loses his hair? And he loses his ability?
It
Yes,
was,
it
yeah.
was.
And George Clarke is the Delilah.
Is George Clarke
He was
Delilah
shaking
in
his
this?
head.
Tepai is Samson of rugby
Old
league.
Delilah Clark.
She's done it again. Okay, so here's my team.
I hope he hits you before the end of this podcast.
Tepai, if you're listening, I'm sorry, son.
Yeah.
All right, so my team.
You
I-
not
You
me,
can
it's
get,
them.
you can get
My
back on
back line-
Instagram at close.
Yeah.
I'm not on Insta. I've beaten the system. So my backline pretty skinny. I have Jack Bird in there, maybe as a fullback, maybe as a centre. I haven't decided yet.
This team.
You're right there, George.
I
You're
mean,
you're
his
just giving me
indignant snort
shit.
is somewhat justified.
You're just giving me shit for.
Did you guys
picking
watch
Tepai
Jack Bird
Maroa.
last year? Just telling on yourselves.
Well, I saw
got
one of them
Daniel-
play last year, and it was Jack Bird. That is the other one.
I got Daniel Tupou as one of my wingers.
Shout out
Very
to
happy
Tupou.
with that.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
My halves are Talatau Amone and Toby Sexton.
Not great.
And then my starting pack is David Clemmer, Reece Robson, Spencer Leniu, Viliami Kikau, Hudson Young, and Isaiah Yeo.
So your halves have the average.
Man,
age
that
of a
team.
Kevin
That
Spacey
team's going to
victim.
carve up New South Wales Cup.
Great cut side.
I picked the team for the Jets. As everyone knows, I'm always in the tank for them.
So I reckon if people looked back at my team, they wouldn't pick it as a Doyle team, I reckon. If we put these up without names, not a lot of Doyle's boys
Oh,
here.
because they're used to you picking good teams.
Yes. And in this instance, I picked a mediocre team, and here we are. So
Let's see where it takes
if
us.
I had my time again, the one pick I would change would be I'd change Harris Tavita to Toby Sexton. But I just did it for whatever. Anyway, I have fullback, I've got Tessie New. On one wing, I have Ronaldo Mulatalo, and one of the centers is Dane Gagai. I'm really happy with that 3 there. Halves, I've taken a punt on Ezra Mam, and Chanel Harris-Tavita. Because again, we're picking for 2023. I think 2023 is the time for Ezra. Not now, but maybe then. Front row, we've got double hyphens. RCG and JWH are our front row. I'll probably end up benching one of them once I've made some other picks. But Cam McInnes, my hooker, I'm pretty stoked with that. And then I think the real linchpins of the side are Angus Crichton and Victor Radley, who are two of the best players at their position in the NRL and only made it back to the draft because they're at the Roosters. So I'm very happy with those two picks.
Yeah. I've still got to pick one more half and a hooker. The reason I haven't is because you guys have sort of drained those wells, so there's not really a particularly big rush. I got Joseph Sawali at fullback. I got Xavier Coates on one wing, TBD on the other wing. I got Campbell Graham and Jesse Raymond in the centres. I'm really, really happy with that centre combination. I think that's pretty solid. Jamal Fogarty's in my halves with a player to be named later. And then I've got a pretty solid engine room, I think, with Nelson Asafa-Solomona, Tom Burgess and Jai Arrow as my three middles. And then Ryan Madison and Jeremiah Nanai as my edges.
I thought you were going to say Ryan Harris.
I was.
And you know what? I'd back him to do it. I'd back
So
him
would
to
I.
do it, man.
He'd have a go.
Get him some new knees.
They're in better
He
shape
did
than
well for
Tepai,
you.
those knees.
So yeah, my hooker situation
being
is not
targeted here,
great,
Paul George.
but everything else I'm pretty happy with. So with that in mind, let's jump into the start of the 11th round. George Clarke has the honour.
So the next part of this draft is we have to pick Mitchell. Am I right? We have to pick a guy who for culture / good vibes.
We do.
We have to pick a player from Super League who can be transplanted into the team in place of that position where you're a bit weaker.
I thought the Super League pick was optional.
No, you have to pick a Super League player.
I have to.
You have to.
Okay.
You should have done your homework. You have to pick a rookie, and you have to pick a Mr. Versatile.
Yes. On top of your bench, top of your 17,
so
yes.
this is part of our 17. So I'm going to pick my Mr. Versatile now because wingers are 10 a penny, and all the fullbacks are pretty garbage. So I'm going to pick Tyrone Peachy.
Great pick.
That is Mr. Versatility.
Yeah,
With the new rules? With the new rules?
No, but
he would
but
be,
the thing
if we
is-
power
thing
rank the
is-
18th man,
well,
he'd be...
George, you want to go into why you picked him?
I just got a soft spot for this guy. He could play 6, he could play 3, 4, maybe even play 1, 13. Like the guy could play anywhere. He rarely misses tackles. He's got a decent kicking game. Like there aren't that many guys out there who've kind of got his, basically he could play everywhere but prop. So
He could do it these
But
days.
he can play middle, so he can pretty much play prop, can't he?
he
Like,
could play 13.
yeah.
you
Well,
know,
I think the poor old Peach. I think Peach.
I think that's his biggest weakness, right? Is
Well,
like
it was for so long, but he's very unlucky as well in that his best position is clearly playing in the middle of the field, playing at 13 as a passer, which is the thing that every club needs now in the way the game's played in the modern day. But that position just didn't exist the way it does now until maybe a couple of years ago. If Tyrone Peachy was coming along now, someone would absolutely snap him up to start at 13 and be their guy for the next 10 years. But the position just didn't exist the way it does now. So that's what he's a great utility pick because he has his spot now. He has his good spot that he's best at, but he can do all these other things if things go awry.
I think that's a very I think the Australian game the last 10 years has tended to move towards a middle who is basically a third prop.
Yeah.
And I think in the last
Well, it's changing now. It's like
it's
that for a
changing
long
now.
time, but it's changing
But
now.
in England, for example, we had Sean Loughlin, who was the classic ball playing number 13. I think Peach, and it was kind of telling the back end of the year with the Titans. I think Mitchell, did they drop Ash Taylor with 3 games to go when they were just trying to get into the 8?
Oh, towards the end, yeah, they dropped that.
Yeah.
But they dropped Ash and put.
Well, they dropped
Peach-
Ash. They
Peach-
dropped Ash, and they dropped Sexton as well. And they went with Fogarty
Yeah.
and Peachy in the
Which
halves.
is bizarre.
It was the first time Peachy had played in the halves, I think, since he was at Penrith.
And you know what? Like they played with Fogarty and Peachy in the halves. You're going to play pretty narrow down the channels, and that kind of worked for them because they got a big pack. They got the Sonny, Tino, Fafita, Mofo, and yeah, that seemed to have worked. But I think now he's gone to the Tigers. He's going to be a great 13 option for them, and he can even play 9. You know,
I really agree, and I actually was off Peachy for a long time because I think people picked him or picked him for Origin or really liked him based on what he could be rather than what he was. But since he sort of settled into that middle role, I've been really impressed with him. He's just a guy who just missed his window, not through anybody's fault. It's just how the game sort of worked out.
And you're up, Campo.
Okay, I'm up to. I need to start filling out my back line, and this fella, he's quite young, but I was really impressed with him. when he came into he's a Raiders player, if you can believe that. But when he came into the team at the end of the season, he did really, really well. He can play wing, he can play centre. I think he's someone who's going to have a huge next couple of years. It's Harley Smith-Shields.
The thing that's changed at Raiders last year, you could have said 3 names there. I wouldn't been surprised with the young backs.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They started last season really skinny in the backs, and it took them a very long time, but they ended up getting a couple of really exciting young players. I was sort of throwing up here between Smith-Shields and Tomoko. I think Tomoko is going to be a long-term first grader as well, but Smith-Shields can play on the wing and can play fullback as well. So he's my guy. I'm slotting him in at centre tentatively. I could move him out to the wing later, but I think he's going to end up being one of those classic wingers that we see these days, who's going to be able to run for 150, 160 metres a game, can finish really well, but he's got a little bit of footy nous about him as well from playing fullback growing up. So he's someone I think is set for a really, really big future.
Nick, Tomoko, Harley Smith-Shields, Xavier Savage. There's actually like a real backline of the future there. Once guys like Rapiner and Croker go into the.
Well, they're never going to retire, George. They're going to play. They're going to play forever. They're going to play forever, and we're all just going to hang out and be happy. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and they'll bring back Leilua after his 5th stint with Featherstone. And
Oh, you just got to bring him home.
Yeah.
Just got to bring him home. He's happy at home.
after he's fought Tyson Fury.
God.
Not even Huey. He's jumping Huey Fury. He's jumping Tommy Fury. He's going straight to the top.
Well, Tommy Fury doesn't fight anyone who hasn't already lost 43 times.
Are we actually going to do a tally up of who's got the most players with double barrel names? Because you just took Harley Smith-Shields. Mitchell's taken a Jared Warrior-Hargreaves.
No, well, Mitch might have us covered with the double barrel prop rotation. Warrior-Hargreaves and Campbell Gillard.
Yeah.
That's a couple of triple word scores if you're playing Scrabble, fellas, and I hope you are.
I have us off for Solomona, only one.
There you go. So now look at the board again, and there's some good players sitting there, and there's a few really good talented young centres. I'm thinking, do I bring a strike guy in? There's an Origin player who played this year for the Blues who hasn't been picked yet, but I'm going with what Bungard said earlier when he mentioned how he wanted some strike for one of his back rowers. I'm not picking that guy on that sake, so I don't want him. He's boring. People would know who I'm talking about. So hopefully these guys might pick him. But I'm moving away from that. So I'm actually going to take a punt on an young outside back. And what I end up landing on is I want a centre. And there's a couple of good ones there. There's Brian Kelly still in the pool. Good player, probably underrated for how good he's been the last couple of years. Not going to go Brian's way. There's still Will Penasini looked really good in first grade towards the end of the year. Looked like he was ready to play first grade. There's Aaron Schopp at the Bulldogs, who I think could be a great first grade footballer. But I'm going all upside, and I'm picking Dom Young from the Knights, and I'm just going to see what happens.
Hectic.
He has the body for rugby league. Looks like it, and he was pretty raw this year, but looked like he was
He was raw, but he came along a lot every game he played, and every single game I've seen him play, be it in State Cup or first grade, he's done something that catches your eye.
Can I just give it?
If it's a tricky offload or a great run out of his own end, there's something there. There's something there.
Can I just give out a shout out to Dom Young as a someone from Huddersfield? Yeah,
you guys
shout
all
out
know
to
each other, do you?
Yeah. We're all cousins, mate. It's like being in Queensland.
Huddersfieldian?
Yeah, that's spot
All right, so it's my turn, Mitchell?
It is.
All right, so I'm not allowed to pick Manasi Finu because he still stood down, right? Correct. So
Well, you can run the gauntlet.
No.
You can march in the streets like George Piggins did
You've already used that line.
on a previous episode.
It's been at least a week.
That's true. You're right. So with that in mind, before one of you double dips, I'm going to pick probably the only guy left that's still a competent NRL first grade hooker, and that's Sam Verrills.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
When I drew up the draft board, I looked at the positions. There was 4 hookers I was happy with, and we picked those 4.
Yep.
They were the same 4 that I wrote down.
It was like if you were the last one and where Bungard is, you wait for Sam Verrills and you just pick him at some point.
I waited. I'm starting to get worried that someone might double dip into that pool now, so I just needed to grab him before there was literally no. At that point, it's like an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
I feel a bit bad for Verrills, the Roosters going out and getting Brandon Smith, because of course you would. Brandon Smith's so good. But Verrills, I thought, just really found his groove in that 2019 side where it was, he doesn't have to do anything fancy. He's just got to get the ball out and then take a chance if he sees it. And that might sound extremely simple, but it's not always an easy balance to land. But by the end of the season, he did land. It had a really good game in the grand final, scored that try. That really early try when the two teams were still sort of feeling each other out ended up being a huge play.
Yeah.
Because tries were at a premium. You know, he's a sharp player. He's a sharp player, and I know the Roosters will be happy with Brandon Smith, but they
Sam Verrills won't let down whoever he goes to.
No, they won't. They'll be sad to lose Sam Verrills. I've no doubt of that.
And then I've got 2 spots left. I could start dipping back into the bench to pick some forwards, which actually might do because I think the others I can kind of get later. So I'm gonna strengthen my middle rotation and take Lindsay Collins.
You did get me, Bungard. You banged me. There you go.
Finally.
Nice.
But, yeah. I mean, he was pre-injury this year, becoming one of the premier props in the comp. Again, another guy got injured. People forgot about him, but he averaged like 120-plus metres a game the last year or a bit of the Roosters and probably started to mean a bit more to them than other guys in the middle rotation, but getting injured doesn't help his case, obviously.
The whole Roosters team's getting drafted.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? Remember how good Lindsay Collins was in the 2020 Origin Series?
He was sensational.
Yeah,
was strong off the bench the first game, was solid the second game, and then the third game he was just terrific.
Yeah.
He was absolutely terrific, and he played at a level, like he was clearly talented or whatever, and he played well for the Roosters, but he played to a level that I didn't think he was capable of. I didn't think he could get there, you know, for all his athletic gifts.
How did the Broncos let him go, Mitchell?
He was so bad. That's the thing. When he first got to the Roosters too, Roosters fans didn't want him either. Like, he dropped the ball so much. Like, I watched him at 20s at Brisbane, and I could see the physique, but he dropped the ball all the time. Like, I totally get why they let him go. Like, but he was like dropped at the Roosters for a year or two, but improved so much. And like the way he was really good in Origin was his line speed, and it's pretty rare a dude that size pushes your line speed a lot.
And also when he carried the ball, he had 0 handbrake. That's what I really liked about the back end of the. It's like the guy you want is just, you know, you got Christian Welsh who's a bit smarter playing that Queensland side, but him is like, you know, just go gung ho when you're on.
Yeah. All right, so I'm pleased with that. Back to you, Mitchell.
So he was probably going to be, I was thinking about one of the veteran props I was looking at for the bench. And if it wasn't him, maybe I'll end up leaving prop for a little while now, which I'm going to end up doing now. So, again, great players left available, as we mentioned. Maybe I could go a vibes guy, thinking vibes. Maybe I go Super League, but I'm not doing any of that. I am going, again, upside, and I'm taking the Raiders back I thought Campo was going to say. And it's not the other one he mentioned either. I'm taking Xavier Savage.
Yeah.
That's who I'm taking. I'm putting him on the wing.
I don't know if that came through on the mics. George just swore under his breath.
Which you can swear aloud on the mic
with venomous
So it
intent.
sounds like he had Xavier Savage on his board at some point, but he looked so good in the limited minutes he played this year. He had the power that went with his pace. Had really good balance, and when he played fullback, he looked great at fullback. So I'm happy to see what comes out of Xavier Savage, and I'd love to have him in my club.
Well, the reason I didn't mention him is I was hoping he would slide back to me. That was probably always going to be very unlikely.
Yeah.
But, Mitch, you said something, I think it was after the game the Raiders played against the Sharks, where Savage had a really electrifying run up the middle of the field. Yeah. And you said Savage, once he's in the team all the time, a couple of times a year, he'll be bringing it out of his own end and just beat a lazy dude, and that's it. And that's it, like Addo Carr does.
He was like a Queensland schoolboy 100-meter champion.
Yeah, he was.
The guy does not like. He's not losing.
Yeah, he's not fucking around when it comes to running.
And our favourite team we referred to, that Queensland Origin team, the 18s Origin team, a couple of years ago, he couldn't make that team.
Yeah, he came off the bench for him.
He came off the bench, but yeah, he's one of those guys that a yardie shit up once every 5 weeks. He'll step he's one man, and the guy 2 in won't be paying attention.
Yep.
And he'll go the distance.
And that'll be it.
That's actually another interesting point. Like, Bungard, I know you're a big Latrell fan, but like, people will often bag Latrell. Oh, he doesn't do much work, but it's like you save him for those like 2 or 3 moments in a game where he can do something incredible, and you're like, oh fuck, that's why we've got this guy.
Yeah. You don't take a Ferrari down the shops. Man.
We don't take Latrell for 200 meters, and Xavier Savage will be the same. But like you say, Mitchell, he'll see a gap at some point in the game and think, this is me, I'm going, and that's why you sign that guy. You know, you just go and break anything open.
And I like Latrell Mitchell. I agree.
Good point, fellas. We should
bring you in, mate. You're gone quiet.
I was writing my 13 down and just I got distracted by how good it is.
Mate, I've already picked up Amara, so
yeah, that's a fair point.
Okay, so everyone's got really good forward packs, right? Everyone loves their forward pack because there's so many good forwards around. So
You're picking another forward.
I'm picking a forward. I'm doing it. This guy's. I'll just say who it is instead of doing the standard preamble.
And what about
this guy? I'm taking Liam Martin. Once a Panther, now a Campton.
That's what I mentioned last time. The Origin player still on the board.
That's it. And it's funny with Liam Martin. So he had a great year in 2020, And they asked him to do something difficult in 2021. They asked him to go from being a starting edge and really doing well out there to coming off the bench and playing in the middle and not playing as many minutes and doing a lot of tougher stuff and much less fancy stuff. And he absolutely embraced it, and he did really, really well. I loved the energy he brought off the bench for the Panthers. I love the intensity he plays with. He took that into Origin, where I thought he did really well. And he's the sort of guy who's become really valuable with the way the game's played now, because he can play edge, he can play middle, he can do them both equally well. He's good enough to start, I think, in either position in the NRL. But I'm taking him, and he's like my first drop forward, like the guy who the second someone goes down, Liam Martin's going out there for bulk minutes. So I really like him as a player. And he's on my team.
Yeah. The only reason I didn't pick him is I said I probably want a bit more strike just with how my pack's going. I don't think Hargreaves and Campbell Gillard not really the type of forwards to break a game with an offload or similar anymore.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I would probably go different. That's why I didn't pick Liam Martin already. But I mean, it's way too late in a draft where we've picked 40 plus players.
Yeah, that's it. Like if you were ranking the available players just irrespective of anything, just in a vacuum, he's much better than the 47th.
Yeah, if we took away positions, he'd be much higher. But obviously,
right.
there's so many back rowers. That's
and mate, a good country boy, and we want good country boys at Camden to remind us.
Him and John Denver.
Hey,
him and John Denver.
Him and John Denver. Life on the farm. It's kind of laid back.
And I know George is rattled because he did lean over to me again and tap on my shoulder and say Xavier Savage is a very good pick. So that was his. He's rattled. That was his next.
Say it on mic, George.
So I'm actually going to change up my backline now. So there's a guy I kind of noticed that everyone kind of slept on. He can get a bit of injury prone, but he could play 6, 1, 3, 4, 2 or 5. That's Peter Hiku. I'm going to take Peter Hiku because he can play just about everywhere. And
another cracking pick.
No, look, I
like Hiku as well.
I'm with you.
He's a great footballer.
He is. He's getting on a little bit, isn't he? Like, don't you reckon? Like, he can play 1 to 5, no worries.
Do you think I was seriously going to pick Pete Hiku?
I don't know, bro. You picked Tepai Maroa.
Yeah. So actually, the guy I was going to pick was another Cowboys player.
Cohen Hess.
It's Murray Tuolangi.
Correct.
There we go.
There we go. That's something.
I was just going to throw a bit of Peter Hiku bait out and see if anyone bit. And then
of course that's what you're doing, bro.
Yeah.
Of course that's what you're doing.
He was just testing the room now for the Tepai Maroa one. It was you can't get out for 12th pick. Whatever it is.
So yeah, I'll take him as one of my wingers.
Good pick. Good player.
Like, I think there's a lot of upside in him, and I can't seem to do that. Reconnect to the draft server.
Anyway, and your next pick after Murray Tuolangi.
Murray Tuolangi, Pete Hiku.
Not Peter Hiku. You rattled George.
That's good. There we go. There the app's working now. Yes, let's play. So he'll go on my wing, and then in terms of like, all I've got left to fill is a back rower and a fullback. So I'm looking at the list of back rowers. I got a pretty diverse mix of CSC for Talakai, Tyson Frizzell, Corey Harrower and Ira, Raymond for Tyler Mariner. But the guy I'm going to take, I don't think it's been mentioned yet, but it's Kenny Bromwich. I think he can ball play. I think he tackles blokes for fun.
He's an actual good Storm player as well.
He's not just hidden in the system.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Kenny, I've been in the tank for the Bromwich boys for feels like my whole life. And what I really loved about Kenny is, remember when he was a middle and he was coming off the bench and he was doing okay, like he was solid enough. But like, you wouldn't say he was a standout. You wouldn't say he was great. And they just put him on the edge a couple of years ago. And it was like, Kenny's throwing round the corner passes like he's Magic Johnson.
Yeah, who was
You're like, shit, Ken, where you been hiding this, bro?
They put him there over again. I can't remember. There was like a shootout in pre-season.
It was
and he
him and
snuck
Stimson.
in.
Him and Stimson,
yeah.
I think it was.
How's Stimson going?
Oh.
How's Stimson going?
He's going okay, mate.
At the Bulldogs,
not as good as Kenny.
The seventh
not as good as
choice
Kenny, it
back
must be
rower
said. It
for
must
the
be said.
Bulldogs. Anyway,
Kenny, man, he dug some shit out that I just never thought was in there. And I like you getting him now because I think he's the kind of guy who like needs dudes to pass to a little bit. You know what I mean? If you put him on a bad team, he probably wouldn't be as effective. But if you put him with a couple of good guys around him, I feel like he's a great complimentary guy.
Yeah, totally. All right, it's back to you, Campo.
Back to me, God, dude. All I feel like I'm doing is just talking,
Just making picks and talking.
just making picks and talking.
I've already written my next 2 players down.
We're over there handcrafting a team while the boys are bantering.
Okay. So sometimes you got to pick smart, and sometimes you got to dance with the one what brung you, and that's what I'm doing on this occasion.
Oh, Jared Croker.
No,
Oh,
not yet.
The Golden Glue Factory.
He's
The Golden Glue.
That's where I'm driving him. After
George,
round one
George
of
is back.
the 2022 season.
Okay. So this is not Jared Croker, right? But it is a guy that's old as shit, right? And plays for Canberra and has done a lot for me. It's Jordan Rapana. Come on down, Jordan.
Again, that could have been 5 people as well.
That's right.
I thought he was picking Elliot Whitehead.
Actually, I gotta say, when Rapana came back from rugby union, I thought, "Fuck me, you are overweight and you are unfit." But with the preseason he did,
He was sick.
And he played when he was just playing on the wing and fullback. Because remember, at the end of 2020, he was playing centre, and the Storm picked him and Croker apart at the back end of that year. Yeah. Seriously, he's such a good yardage man, and he will never ever go missing in a big game.
That's right.
He will always he will die for the cause.
That's exactly right.
He's
I thought when he came back from rugby, because like he doesn't have a heap of miles on the belt under the belt because of his mission, but doesn't have a heap of miles under the belt because we'll cut this out.
No, it's fine. Keep going.
George just tried to very subtly open a bag of chips.
It's all right.
He doesn't have a heap of miles under the belt because he was on that more mission for 4 years, but because he plays so hard, like I thought everything had caught up.
I was
to
shocked
him.
how much better he played.
He was great. He was great. And it's like George says, he fights and he fights and he fights and he doesn't know how to stop fighting. You know, he's still a very good yardage man. Maths isn't my strong point. He'll probably be 32, 33, maybe even 34 by the time we're running out for our first game. I don't give a shit. If he's playing, he's got a spot on my team. Great for vibes, good veteran leadership. I've always got a spot for Geordie.
Yeah. Okay, Mitchell.
Perfect. So I might take the first Super League player, I think.
Oh.
And he's going to be old as dirt by the time this kicks off. But he's actually going to be not going to make the match day 17. He'll fill in when required.
Yeah.
But I'm taking a guy who should have come over here like 5 years ago, and that's Alex Walmsley,
Yeah, okay.
who has averaged still 173 metres per game the last 2 seasons. He has had 44 offloads in 38 games. In the last 2 years at prop, he's has 21 line breaks and 14 tries. I know it's a Super League, but he's still fucking got it. And I know we're talking to a guy who's 32 now, who'll be 34 when this starts, like JWH will be. But those are the type of guys that I think when you're establishing a club like the Western Sugar Gliders, you need some of the fellas around. And he'd be one of the great fellas.
There's so few good forwards left. You know what I mean?
I know. Well, you pick an English player that's not a forward.
He's mocking you.
Yeah, you pick an English player that's not a forward. You do it. Go on.
I will.
You will.
Gladly.
You don't have to pick an English player. You have to pick a Super League player. It's a very important distinction.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
he's not in the 17, but he is in the squad.
I'm finally going to get Jamal Fogarty a halves partner. And it's someone who I think we were all surprised, apart from a couple of listeners of this show, you know who you are. Someone that we were all surprised at how good he played last year. He was thrust into a first grade position for a long chunk of the season due to injury. And he, in my opinion, played really, really well and has established himself as a first grade half now. And a guy who the Adelaide Fighting Mongooses will be happy to have on board, and that's Drew Hutchison.
Love it. Drew Hutch, like there's a lot of great Rooster success stories, right? Drew Hutch might be the biggest one because, like, when the Roosters signed him, I thought, oh yeah, man, he'll captain North Sydney, and it'll be great. But we'll never see him in first grade. But he's just hung around. He knows exactly what he's good at and what he does well, and he doesn't try to do anything other than that. He just plays to his strengths, always minimises his weaknesses. Is really good at training. He's the quintessential Trent Robinson success story. And when you hear Trent Robinson talk about him, the affection that comes through is very, very apparent. You know, he is one of Robbo's guys. He loves those sorts of dudes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really good pick. I don't know if he'd be able to succeed anywhere other than the Roosters.
That's a fair question,
but it's worth it. It's a chance worth taking.
And my other pick, yes, he's getting on age-wise, but at a basket case of a club, he is one guy that still kept his head up and kept, not disgracing himself. He played Origin this year, and And he's coming off the bench for me. He's more going to be there as a chemistry guy, as a guy that's going to put his arm around the young players in the team and sort of steer them on the right track. And that's a guy that, in his younger years had a bad reputation for his own attitude himself. But I feel like in the last couple of years, he's been a guy that has grown into quite a respected member of the rugby league fraternity, and that's Tarek Sims.
Just don't read the tweets his coach has liked, and we'll be sweet.
Yeah,
So,
don't do that.
So I'm going with another guy who's played no first grade football, but I can give you the names now that you're going to know about in 2 years. So a year or two ago, people laughed at when the Titans paid Tino so much money before he played for the Storm. People laughed at Payne Haas's contract, but there's a young forward out there who just been sparring with Paul Gallen,
Oh, yes.
who's been nicked by the Chooks, and that's young Xavier Va'a. So he's going down with the Chooks from the Broncos, and I'm stealing him for my club.
You didn't want to pick the guy Pangai forward on the weekend?
him. He's taking him back for the Sugar Gliders.
For the Sugar Gliders. The Shugs are having him back, and he loves sugar, I'll tell you that much. He's giant. He averaged, in 18 this year, only played 5 games, but he had 174 metres per game, which doesn't sound like that much, but they play less. The games are shorter. He doesn't sound like it's a huge amount, but it is. He offloaded 12 times in those games, 4 line breaks, 4 tries, set up another 2. He broke 32 tackles in 5 games at his giant size. Big prospect. The fact the Roosters got him also makes me think he's going to be something as well. So that's a guy I'm going to put on my bench, and maybe in 2 years he's going to be something big in the game. We'll find out.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will, Mitchell. So it's back to me. I haven't been looking at my draft board. I was checking.
Have
my
you
phone
looked at
'cause I'm
it
an
at any
idiot.
point?
Dude, look at this. Look at this shit. It's a
His
work
draft
of
board,
art.
You look like
scribblings.
Work of art.
It looks like the notes that a serial killer leaves.
Yeah, because I'm killing all your teams, baby.
Yeah.
That's 3 victims right there. Come on, that was all right.
Yes,
that was all right.
you've drafted not listed and Harley Greenshields. Yeah, great job.
Harley Greenshields.
Fucking spare me.
Okay, so
Is that Clint Greenshield's son?
It is. Yes.
so I'm looking to shore up my bench. I want another forward, a guy that can provide some impact, who can perform in a couple of different roles. I'm taking Sio Sifatalakai. I've been really, really impressed with him since he came back into first grade. I think it was halfway.
He did
through,
kill a man at one point.
I think he came back halfway through 2019 or maybe 2020, and he was one of those dudes that he played for Souths maybe 5 or 6 years ago, sort of dropped off the scene. And guys like that, you sort of don't expect to hear from him again. But he reinvented himself, done really, really well. I love what he provides for Cronulla. He can even play in the centres in an absolute pinch. But I'm getting him as part of my middle rotation, and I'm slotting him in for one of the spots on my bench. And he's a Jet, bro. I'm in the tank for the Jets.
Apparently him and I think it was Kalamatangi Campbell Graham, him and Toby Rudolph all played in the same mascot Jets team. Now, could you imagine turning up and playing?
Well, aren't Rudolph and Talakai a little bit older than Campbell Graham?
Maybe, but maybe he played a year up. But I just heard
Maybe
that-
he is very tall.
Maybe I got my South players mixed up, but yeah,
Yeah,
all of those in one team, thick.
thick lads.
And that's the exclusive you
Big
get at
boys.
Clarke's column.
Yeah, sign up for the Patreon, you dogs.
Oh,
On the phone. Anyway, George is back
I
up.
remember one.
The real battle is Nick Campton against technology.
He's running.
It's one I'll never win, but I'll never stop
He has a
fighting.
scribbling notepad down, and he writes his pick on the piece of paper as if that's the lodgement, which I love. But unfortunately,
Mitchell, where do I post this?
I don't have to stand up for print media anymore.
I brought my
I'm still
stamps.
going to do it.
All right, George, you got back-to-back picks on the snake.
So I've got a couple of options here. So the only place in my 13 I need to fill is a fullback.
Do it. Take Sam Tompkins, you coward.
He won Man of Steel.
He won
bro.
Man of Steel. How could he not succeed
what
in the
about Jack
NRL?
Wellsby?
Yeah, but he
Take
also
Chris
went
Thorman.
to. Oh, sorry, can I just place on record my disdain with the Warriors club for their management of Sam Tompkins and the fact that if he could have gone to any other club in the game, he would have been okay. But the Warriors, and the Warriors are cursed. Am I wrong?
No, that's fair.
Or am I right? Okay, so if he'd gone to the Roosters, Sam Tompkins would have.
If I went to the Roosters, I'd be a good first grade fullback. Doesn't count. Okay.
Okay, bad example.
Yeah.
If Sam Tompkins had gone to
South.
Cronulla,
South.
or South, yeah, whatever, he would have done okay.
So
if this isn't a preamble to you picking Kevin Locke, why are you wasting my time?
Kevin Locke has actually signed with Carcass in the last week, hot off the press.
Magnifique.
I'm actually going to pick my rookie at this point. He's a guy I've seen in the flesh 2 or 3 times. He's signed with the Bulldogs, and he's called Paul Alamotti.
Oh, he was going to be my one, you dog.
He is a thick motherfucker, and he rolls people for breakfast. He is seriously strong. He's got a great fend. When he plays right centre, he's got a great left arm fend, and if he doesn't get if he's unable to get the fend away, he's got a lovely flick out the back with his right hand. So I think, in the next, maybe not next year in 22, but I think 23 we're going to be hearing a lot of Paul Alamotti.
Canterbury are so excited about Paul Alamotti. They have got really, really high hopes for him, and he's one of those guys where he's been the best player on every team he's ever played on, but he's an outstanding trainer as well. They really love how he is around the boys. They love. I know someone that sort of worked with him on one of the Dogs junior teams. I can't remember which one it was, Mats or Ball or something like that. And Alamotti's one of those guys who will stay back after training to do work with the kids who are struggling, to sort of get them up to scratch with their fitness. So they have him pegged as a real leader too. They reckon he's a very, very special prospect. He was going to be my boom rookie, and I didn't have a lot of names down for that because I'm not as across junior footy as Mitch and George are, but
junior
I reckon
footy
he's very special.
He's struggled the last couple of years, but I will bring up some Paul Alamotti stats just because people don't know who these players are yet. So obviously we've lost a lot of reserve grade football the last couple of years, but in Harold Matts, which Campo mentioned, the 16s, he averaged 140 metres a game. Played 14 games for 13 tries, 15 try assists, 17 line breaks, 16 line break assists, 84 tackle breaks, 15 offloads. That's a lot for a goddamn centre. And then this year he played just Fleague and SG Ball. I mean, those combined, he played 1 Fleague game, but he played 6 SG Ball games, which is 18s. So he played 7 games. He had, in those, 5 tries, 4 try assists, 37 tackle breaks, 5 line breaks, 4 line break assists, and 8 offloads, and he went at 120-something metres per game as well at that point. So, again, those are the numbers you want to see from an elite prospect. Just absolutely carving up other children. That's what you want to see from those guys, and I have heard a lot about him as well. And I do think he's one of those names you'll see, kind of like how, again, you don't hear about these guys a lot, and then January happens. The clubs have had a pre-season, and the clubs have gone, that's the guy to watch. And all of a sudden we hear about them. And then the Supercoach sleepers come February or March. Everyone knows who they are. But George is giving you one of them, and Campo one of them. Right now you'll be hearing a lot about in the next 18 months.
Cool.
So I saw him this January last year, and he is seriously good. I'm gonna take my other pick now. And
yes, that is how it works.
He's
great radio.
He's
George.
hovering on Pete Hiku again. He's like, "Fuck,
He wants to do it.
Will they laugh if I pick it now?"
I scared him. I scared him off it last time.
Pick Zach Hardacre, you coward.
I reeled you all in. I'm actually going to pick a guy from the Super League.
Good.
Is it
No,
Remy Casti?
Now, I had a couple of options here. I thought about going for a more experienced guy. Bungar mentioned Sam Tompkins earlier. I get there's a lot of shit on Sam Tompkins, whatever. But the guy I'm actually going to go for, and I had to kind of pause on this because there was another guy I thought of. Clyde Pierce-Paul was one name. Back rower, lovely offload. He plays like Ali Lawatiti, who's my favourite player of all time. But the player I'm actually going to pick is a French guy called Arthur Morgue, and he's about 5'8". He can play 9, 6, 7, 1, or 13. And he's going to be a Super League player.
Sure.
So George is always tipping me, look at this guy in Super League, look at this young guy in Super League. Those are the 2 dudes he talks the most about. And Arthur Morgue, I've only seen like little bits of him for Catalan this year, but he's seriously impressive. I don't know where he's going to settle, but it says something about him that at his age, he has the ability to play in all those different positions. He has the speed and the power and the skill. I'd love to see someone take a chance on him. I'd love to see someone take a chance on one of those young French players.
So again, for Arthur Morgue, he only averages 80 metres per game, but that's all right. He has 27 Super League games last year, 9 line break assists, 7 tries, 6 try assists, 81 tackle breaks, 6 line break assists, 13 offloads, 80 odd metres a game. Not bad numbers.
Decent. Nicholas.
Good at a lot of different stuff, isn't he? All right. So I feel really bad because George has just gone for 2 really young, exciting players that people are going to have to look out for in the future and all of that. And I'm taking another forward.
Yes.
Because I'm an idiot.
It's big man season.
Because I'm an idiot and
big
a
man
loser,
season.
and it's important to stick to the brand. Okay. I'm taking, right, and stay with me here. I'm taking Jared Wallace.
Yeah,
All right.
he was actually good this year.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Jared Wallace copped a lot of heat for a long time.
He was on my list.
Yeah, especially because he had a stint in the Queensland Origin team and it didn't go great. He had some pretty underwhelming performances at that level. But this year, I actually thought was his best year in first.
His ball playing been really good.
His
Bizarre.
passing really improved. I don't know if he always had that in him or if it was just something that he kind of found this time. But it was really, really good. And it wasn't just general taking the one off the ruck, first receiver, digging into the line, passing out the back, although he is quite good at that. Quite often he would pass off the kickoff and go behind someone and find AJ
They'd
Brinson.
run a shift play.
Yeah, exactly. They'd run a shift off the kickoff. And a couple of times they went the distance. They went all the way. It's such a valuable skill to have, you know. And I'd happily have him as a starter, but as it stands, I've got him on my bench. And I think the way it would work is he'd come on and he'd sort of replace Isaiah Yeo as that passing middle if Yeo needs a spell, which hopefully he doesn't because he's an Iron Man, he's the best. So the last vacant spot on my bench is going to Jared Wallace. We'll get him back. We'll get him back into Queensland Origin,
and
we'll do
for
it.
what Campo's talking
we'll
about,
get him
again,
a renaissance.
the second half of the drafts come with more numbers, so what I'll do some more here. So again, over the last 5 years, so in 2017, Jared Wallace threw 8 offloads and 105 passes in 21 games. 2018, 14 offloads and 95 passes. 2019, 24 offloads, 88 passes.
And for
2020, 19 offloads, 86 passes. The same player, right? About the same bit of ball playing. This year, 35 offloads, 220 passes.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I thought Holbrook did really, really well, that he managed to bring that out in Jared Wallace, you know, and people will be out there saying, oh, why haven't you picked Jake Trbojevic? Why haven't you done that? I've picked Jared Wallace because he might not be as good a passer, but I think he's pretty close.
Better
and
ball runner.
He's a much better yardage man as well. And if you're having someone off your bench, I want someone that can just put on the head tape and run like a mad thing, but can also have that little bit of
And also
subtlety.
get under the skin of guys like Ken Evans and Matt Lodge.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
those are, you can't replace that. You can't buy that. Man.
Well, outwitting Kane Evans, like, that's not easy. That's not easy.
He
but
probably
Jared,
played the hardest
but
he's
Jared-
played as well.
Mensa member Ken Evans.
Mitchell.
Yeah, so I am going to go a real boring pick here. I did speak on I wanted more strike from a back row. This guy does not bring the strike that his name brings, but I'm taking Tyson Frizzell.
Okay.
And there you go. Boring pick, but
Yeah,
nice
that's
and
all right.
late and a solid player.
I had a couple. I'm just going to round out the end of my bench here with one solid, proven first grade middle and a guy that we saw a bit of in first grade last year, but not too much. But a guy that when I saw him play, I was like, geez, that guy looks good. So first of all, I'm going to take Isaac Targo.
Nice
I like
pick.
that. I like that. He can shift between edge and centre.
Yep.
Really, really easily. He did that in State Cup a lot this year. You know,
I mean, he was despite playing back row, wasn't he the top New South Wales Cup try scorer at one point?
he was pretty close to it. I think he led
Yeah.
the league in line breaks at one point. I really like him. He'll play a lot of first grade next year. I'm not sure where. Like maybe he'll replace Kate Well, maybe he'll replace Morovsky in the centres, but a valuable squad.
Yeah, I've got
player
a
at
lot
the
of
very
I've
least.
got a lot of established first graders here, and I need a couple more young guys who've got a lot of power and a lot of strike, and I think he fits that bill. And a guy that I think has improved every year in first grade since he debuted, and that's Junior Totola.
Yep.
Um,
That's a great pick this late.
Like he shouldn't still be there as far as I'm concerned. He's a fantastic middle in the NRL.
Well, the thing was, he got so much better in 2020, but then I thought he got better again
Yeah,
in
no one talked
2021, and
about
I didn't think he had another go in him. I think the reason people don't talk about him is it's not.
He's
like,
not a particularly flashy player.
Well, that's the thing. It's not like he's a line buster or a tackle
No.
breaker or a really good passer. He's just 6 or 7 metres a run.
Yep.
Kind
And-
of bends the line
yeah.
every time.
And you get to the end of the game, and Junior Totola's had 15 runs for 130 metres, and he hasn't missed a tackle, and you're like, oh.
But has nice hands as
Yeah.
well. I've seen him catch some good balls. Like,
Yeah.
he's
So-
one of those dudes. You'll turn around one day and he'll have played 220 NRL games, and you're like, fuck, where did that
Yeah,
come from?
in my opinion, I think he's the most underrated member of the Rabbitohs team.
And so going back to
More underrated
Bungard's,
than Mark Nichols.
the GOAT.
going back to Bungard's Isaac Targo point, I thought I'd bring it up. He didn't finish top of the New South Wales Cup try scorers, but he played 9 games. Obviously, went to first grade, then the comp stopped. In those 9 games, he was top at that point. He had 10 tries, 8 line breaks, 7 line break assists, 4 try assists, 12 offloads, and average 140 metres.
That's quite good.
Which,
In
again,
a-
this is better than the 20s numbers because this is against other
Yeah,
men.
again, in a number of different roles too. Was
Yeah.
switching between centre and wing. Centre and second row a fair bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so no-
I've just got my vibes picks to go. So
Your
that's
vibes
good.
picks?
Yeah.
They're all vibes picks, mate.
That's true. my team, a bunch of good blokes. Oh,
Yeah, and so we still got good players like Nathan Brown left, and it just feels too boring to pick Nathan Brown for.
But he
my-
probably
I
he
thought
probably
about-
should get picked.
I thought about going Brown over Wallace because Brown, I think, could be so good with that impact role. But I end up going Wallace just because I think his passing game is a little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah.
But that was the one I was. Well, I wasn't sweating over it because it's a fake draft with my dickhead
That's
mates.
it.
But
That's it, and we're having fun. That's it. And
That was the decision
And
I
we
was
could do
making.
this draft 10 times to come up with different teams, which
That's
is fine.
right.
But and then I look again. I actually am thinking about another bench forward. I took my Pom. I have enough rookies as well. I'll probably take some more rookies and another pick or two. But we're looking at the bench forwards, and we just mentioned there's still guys like Nathan Brown. There's even guys like Frank Moeller got forgotten about. The moment he signed for the Dragons, we forgot about him. He was really good at the
Incumbent
Cowboys. He was
Origin
really good.
player.
Incumbent Origin player, been
Francis
really good there. But I'm going to go again with a bit of upside, who has shown a little bit in first grade. But I'm taking TC Rabadi. I'm putting him on my bench there. There was another Broncos bench forward I probably could have gone towards, but Rabadi plays middle or edge. We'll like him to have his kicking license when he comes to the bench and do what he wants to do, but that's just my type of player, obviously. We need a few more of those guys who can, I've got Victor Radley to move the ball around, but I'd like to have TC also come in and break up the opposition defence in the middle.
I know it's only a little thing, but TC Rabadi isn't afraid of making big plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's some guys you don't want trying to make big plays, but just the willingness to do it. Like the not being afraid of fucking something up, with a little grubber kick or whatever. You don't want him doing it all the time.
When he played his first grade game, he looked like he'd been playing first grade.
That's it.
He didn't look like his first grade.
He's got a little bit of that swagger about him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Tony Staggs had that swagger the day I saw him play as well. Like
That's not a great comp because of the positions, but
No, attitude-wise.
like mentality, definitely.
Okay, back to you, Campo.
All right, so
He's enjoying other picks too much. He's got to do his own.
I am.
Just loves the thrill of the draft.
Love the thrill of the draft. Okay, so I'm going to take my boom rookie pick. It's a guy named Jack Howarth. He's
Oh,
from the
great
Storm.
pick!
Yeah.
Great pick. Not a lot of games under his belt, but great.
Not a lot
pick.
of games under his belt. Was a really good junior rugby union player. I think he's with the Storm. The Storm rate him really highly. I don't know if they've settled him down to centre or back row yet, but they're sort of the two positions. I've only seen a little bit of him play. I don't even know if it would be. Has he played much state cup or is it more
this
Malmaninga?
year he did his hammy twice.
Yeah.
So he only played 4 games of cup this year, and then he only played a bit of juniors before that. But you've probably seen him in your memory is he played for the Queensland 18s and was really fucking good.
Yeah.
And he's also been around the traps. He's like one of those names around union schools. Everyone kind of knew who Jack Howarth kind of was. You'd heard the name around union circles, and leagues obviously got him. But I think he's at the right club they're making him into a centre when I thought he was going to be a back rower. He's long and lean, but I just think great pick there. I think he's going to be one of those guys that probably won't score a lot of tries himself, but his winger's going to score like 70. You know?
Well, the thing is, say he plays centre for 2 years, learns how to really hit a hole or something like that.
Yeah.
And then bulks up a little, and then you can play him second row. You know what I mean? And honestly, sometimes it's as good as, well, the Storm think this guy's good, so he's probably pretty good. So I only had a few guys down as my boom rookies. I had Alamotti down there. I had Jack Howarth down there. I had a guy named Tolu Kola from the Sea Eagles. He's a centre.
Yep.
Meant to be fantastic. Really, really quick. I think he'll play first grade at some point this year. He was on my list. And then 1 or 2 other guys who I won't put out there because the boys might have their own or whatever. But Jack Howarth, he's in as my boom rookie.
You think Jack Howarth's gone down to Melbourne and they'll turn him into a good player? Is that what you're saying?
I think Jack Howarth is already a good player, and they'll turn him into a very good player.
If Tepa was 18 and had all his hair again,
honestly, yes, because Tepai Moral
Absolutely.
was like a schoolboy gun.
he was.
Actually, listen, guys. So I believe this is my last
You
two.
you have 4 more picks.
No, I've got 2 more picks. I believe. I've
No.
only got to pick a.
You got an 18th man and a Vibes Clubhouse pick.
No, he picked the 18th man.
You're supposed to have 20 picks total, George. So
21 picks.
whatever.
1 picks.
Oh, really? I've only got
yes.
20 written down.
17 players
Yeah.
plus 4.
18th man,
Yes.
Super League. Oh, boom rookie Vibes pick.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
so I've still got to pick a 14, 15.
Yeah, you can pick a bench. He didn't want to pick a. He wasn't picking
Oh,
a
I
bench.
forgot 18th man.
There you go.
That's where I've gone wrong.
The fellas, we've been in match day 21 for a long time
Max, our ancient enemy,
now.
has beaten us again.
It has.
Just jot down.
Well, now he's been rattled. Well, there's a lot of betting forwards left there that are good.
Just pick Nathan Brown, bro. You'll be fine.
Well, now I'm done. I got rid of all my front rows off my spreadsheet, so I'm actually gonna take one guy who Tui Kamikamica will be one.
Mm-hmm.
Can we pick Tui right now?
Well, look, man.
Yeah, from what I heard, it's not that serious.
What's the Marilyn Monroe quote that every girl in 2009 was about? If you don't put up with them at worst,
Yeah.
you don't deserve me at my best.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
picking
Tui
Anthony,
Kamikamica
I'm picking
right
Anthony
now, baby.
Milford next pick. Milford's coming home. That's all the license I needed. Beats
So-
14.
I'm selecting Tui Kamikamica, but I'm going to make a first big bold change. I'm going to put Archer Moog to fullback.
Fullback.
He's starting him. He's
What's
starting him.
happening?
I like it.
Okay,
I know.
and
I
then-
like it.
You have to pick another fullback though.
And I'm going to pick... Oh, fuck. I mean, there is some pretty... I'll stick by it for this one, actually. I'll let it ride. But I've got Tui on one of my bench spots, and I think I'll probably take... I'm going to take Corey Harawira-Naira as one of my bench forwards.
You have taken a couple of questions.
He's trying to upset Campo.
No.
I know.
As a bench guy, I think Harawira-Naira is quite good because I think that suits him. Coming on in the middle and giving a lot of energy and being crazy. If you put him on the edge, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a fitness thing or an application thing, but he just makes so many defensive mistakes. You know what I mean? It kills me. But you bring him on as a bench middle,
And you can see how
say-
the game is unfolding.
That's it. And you say, mate, just go out there and grind some bones to make your bread. He'll do it. He'll do it. He can bring energy off the bench like few others can.
You're up again, Campo.
Oh man,
These picks are just flying off
I'm
the
just
board.
there's just picks going left, right, and centre. Okay, so I need an 18th man, right? And I need an 18th man that's got a fair bit of versatility about him, right? So there's two guys that I'm really looking at, and they were on the same club last year. One's Kurt Mann, one's Connor Watson. I actually thought they both had quite good years. You know, Kurt Mann was probably better the year before because he was given the chance to settle in at 5'8" and really just take down a spot and do his best with it. That's not what I'm asking them to do here, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking for someone like Tyrone Peachy who can come on, play in the middle, and then if something goes wrong, can fill in somewhere else. And I think Connor Watson is better in that role. So I'm taking Connor Watson as my 18th man.
Yeah, he was the other best utility left, but also because, like Peachy, he found a spot at 13. He can play 13 currently.
Absolutely.
You can do
I would have if Yo goes when Yo goes to play Origin, I'll happily have Watson start at
Is this a
13 and feel good
precursor
about it.
for you picking Moses Sembo?
No, I'm not picking Moses Mbai. Origin utility.
He hates Moses
I am
Mbai.
taking the other boring pick again. Not the most Doyle pick, but I'm taking Nathan Brown. He's sitting there.
Yeah.
He's aggressive, and
I'm surprised he lasted this long. I just ran out of room for him on my team, but I'd happily have him. I think he's kind of gone all the way back around from being overrated to being a little bit underrated. So I'd always have like Nathan Brown. You know what you're getting, and it's normally pretty
well, I
good.
think I know he's not bad at it. The ball playing role at Parramatta.
he got a lot better.
He
at
got
it
a lot
this
better
year,
at it,
yeah.
but I prefer angry aggression Nathan Brown off the bench, 30, 40 minutes, not 60-minute Nathan Brown.
Yeah. I had Connor Watson on my big board.
You're a big
He's-
Watson guy.
I love Connor Watson.
Yeah.
really
like
good
that.
trainer as well. I reckon he'd be good around the boys.
Instead, I'm going to take Jackson Hastings because same sort of.
Not doesn't have the same reputation.
No,
around the
not so
boys.
much. Not so much.
Said.
Not
Must be
so
said.
much.
How, are you playing him at halfback? Or?
No, he's 18th man.
Yeah, he can play 18th man. He works. And your other one, Bungard?
Yeah, so this was hard, right? So I have an open wing spot, and
If you don't take your boy, here,
exactly like
I
there's
will
a-
lose respect for you.
I'm obviously taking my boy. Like, what are we doing here?
Attaboy.
Like,
Attaboy.
it's ridiculous that he's even still on the board. It's actually offensive to me that especially Mitch, just over so many years, has just been so wrong about Alex Johnston, like consistently.
Especially Mitch.
Well, they're not on the podcast
Especially
as much
Campo.
as you.
But especially
and like
Mitch.
I've been ride or die for this guy for like 5-6 seasons now. I've been proven right at every turn.
Proven right by when he was a good fullback
He's
and
a
he thought that.
fantastic player,
Yes.
a better
When he was
fullback
on the-
than people
when he was
give
on
him
the
credit
bench
for.
a
The
half a
greatest
year there.
try scorer that we've ever seen in the modern game. Nick, it must have been probably, honestly, 4 years ago when I first said to you he's going to break Ken Irvine's record.
And he's apparently broken it already,
And you
Campo.
rightfully at the time called me foolish, but right now he's close to even money to get there, and
Yeah, he is.
it's going to be great for the franchise. for the Adelaide Fighting Mongooses when in 2024
He's already broken
Alex
it by then.
Johnston,
He's also got 40 tries.
Alex
in the dumb
Johnston
rules
breaks
this
the
year.
record. It gets renamed the Alex Johnston Medal.
I don't know, man.
Everyone
Will
apologises
it
to
be
me.
like-
The
will it-
people of Papua New Guinea are going to go berserk.
Mate,
Will-
I've
will
got
it- will it be
Javier
like-
Quartez on one wing and Alex
Alex
Johnston on the
Johnston.
other.
Will it be like when Favre broke the touchdown record when he was playing for the Vikings? Like, will it be a
Yes.
bit like
A little
that?
bit like that,
Little
yeah,
bit
it will.
that,
And then someone better will break it a year later. Okay, so we're back to me. 18th man vibes are in the room. They are. So there's one left, and I'm looking at Connor Tracy because he can play literally everywhere.
I wanted to mention, like, that was
Yeah.
the thing. I tried to pull you up, but you're already making your next pick. I love Connor Tracy,
But I'm not
I think
gonna
he
do
can
that.
fill that Connor Watson role for any team that needs it.
You can feel the Connor roll.
But so if we're allowing Tui, can I pick Tony? Am I allowed to pick Tony?
No,
It seems like you want to.
I do.
I'll
but,
allow it. I don't.
I'm doing it. I'm picking Tony as my utility. He can play fullback or
If anyone's
halfback.
confused, he's talking about Anthony Milford.
He's Anthony Milford.
Are you going to change your Twitter profile picture?
I
in
have
terms
to.
of-
I have to change my Twitter, but
Yeah.
I have to find. I'm trying to find another degenerate Bronco
No,
giving
you
the
love
finger.
Hubert Farnsworth. Just lean into that.
Yes, but I haven't found the right.
Can you used to play soccer?
Rude Herbie.
Isn't that crazy?
Rude Herbie.
Rude
Is-
Herbie.
is that
No,
what
not
it's
Rude
called?
Herbie.
Search hashtag.
Nah, what about
Rude
Ezra
Herbie.
Mam?
Ezra man, I like
You
Ezra.
love Ezra Mam.
I could just stick his head on Tony's and we'll see what happens. But I will take Anthony Milford's getting one last shot, if it pending legal troubles. But, look,
All right.
This
back
is
with,
going to be a
Campton.
huge asterisk.
but Tony's back here.
At this
Okay,
point, we're
but-
flying through it.
We are actually. I'm taking a starter.
Oh.
A starter. He's going to start for my team, and much maligned by the people in this room. I'm taking Dylan Edwards. I'm doing it.
Nice
Yeah,
one.
no,
He's been
fair
there for
enough.
about 10 hours. Yes,
No,
right
well,
pick.
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of people like. I feel a bit sorry for Dylan Edwards because he's just gotten caught in the take discourse and is being torn apart to these two extremes.
You're saying the
right?
dirt they threw on his name.
So
No.
one of the points in the last episode you made about Stephen Crichton,
Yeah.
I thought when I thought about it in hindsight, it's like I played wing, fullback, centre last year, and he's only like 20, 21.
Yeah.
It's the best thing that guy could do is just play one position all year with the same winger or same second rower.
Stephen Crichton.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like a lot of those Penrith guys have kind of been moved around, and it's probably like we don't want to credit Cleary because a lot of people want to bag him, but like as a coach, he's kind of managed that load well on those guys, and every time Edwards turned up, he's made so many honest yards.
Well, that's the thing, right? So the knock on Edwards is he's not a passer, right? He's not a great passer.
But
That's-
no one asks him to be that. He's
I'm not
just-
asking him to do that. I'm asking him to run for meters, and he's really, really good at that. And he's even good at that when he's under duress. I thought he was exceptional.
He's filling your Josh Dugan hole in your heart. Just run hard. Son,
Nobody
boy.
nobody could ever fill that hole, right? Because Todd Carney punched that hole in, then Josh Dugan widened it, and then Anthony Milford kicked it the fuck
Good.
in. But I'm asking Dylan Edwards to go out there and to make 200 metres a week, and he's good at that. He's really good at that, you know? He was really good in the grand final under duress as part of that Panthers back five that was just giving metres and metres and metres.
Is Jack
He's a
Bird your
good-
6?
No, Jack Bird's my 14.
This
Okay.
team's a mess.
Who's your 6?
Oh, wow, Jack Bird's my utility. What a mess.
Yes.
Talatau Amone's my 6.
Oh, that's it. I forgot about it. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
like,
a child. Fantastic. The sky's the limit over at Camden.
Hey! If Perth Bushpig's coach Christian Wolf says it's good enough, him.
You know what? If you valued his opinion, you would have picked him.
Who?
You would have listened to your coach and backed him, but you didn't.
Yeah, but look,
Oh, turmoil in the
Yeah.
front office.
Dare
over
I
in Perth.
say discord?
Anyway,
over in Perth.
I think Edwards has just gotten caught in the stupid goddamn
Yeah,
Penrith
that's
discourse that we have. He's fine for what Penrith ask him to do, and
Mm-hmm.
all I'm asking him to do is what he does for Penrith.
Yeah, see,
I
my
want
argument...
I want him to make meters, talk from the back,
Yeah.
support through the middle, and he can do all those things. So I'm taking.
He's just that line of fullback. Again, he's not dog shit. Yeah, he's not like he's
Mitch,
gone too
oh,
far.
that's so kind
But
of
it's
you.
like it's
That
he's
might be the
line-
nicest thing you've ever said.
He's like at
about
that
Dylan
line where
Edwards.
he's a good enough fullback, but most teams will want better. They'll want someone who can do more than him, but Penrith don't need that, and some teams don't need that. But he sits in that spot. Like if he was at a worse team playing as he did, they would have tried somebody else.
No,
At
they
some
would
point,
have. They would have. And that
doesn't mean he's a
long-term-
bad player.
Long term, that spot is probably Crichton's,
Crichton's, yes.
right? But again, I'm not asking Dylan Edwards to do anything that he can't do. You know.
Okay, George, you're back on the clock.
Okay.
2 of your last 3.
So I'm actually going to pick a guy who has actually left the Roosters this year and has gone north, and he can probably play just about anywhere, but he's the kind of guy you want in your club, and it's Isaac Liu. I think he's probably one of those guys that people sleep on because he's just, part of a good forward rotation. But, he's going to be coming off the bench for me, and the thing I like about him is he can play front row, play as a lock, and maybe, play on an edge if needed. So he's going to be my guy there.
Another guy that'd be great around the group for just
He could be the vibes
setting
guy.
example. Yeah, good vibes guy. Good vibes guy.
He could have been my
Another one
guy.
of Trent Robinson's all-time favourites. I couldn't work it into a story, but when Levy played his 200th game for the Roosters, Robinson gave like a good 3.5 minute soliloquy in one of his presses about how much he loved Isaac Liu. It was awesome.
Robert must have been trying to throw you off the trail there for some other story. That's what I kind of like.
I wasn't pressing him, baby. It was 3 o'clock on a Friday.
Yeah.
Campton's mind was
Anyway,
already
next
at the
pick
Aurora,
again, George.
dare I say.
We're almost at that
Where
the
it
home
always
stretch.
belongs.
So I've,
3 more
again,
picks.
this is a really tough one because it's like, okay, so at the moment I've got Tui Kamikamica, Corey Howard, and Isaac Liu on my bench. So 3 guys who could all play middle, edge, and I probably need a bit of versatility on there. So I'm just looking at the pre-draft list that I did. I think now no one's picked him yet, but I'm going to pick him just for the sake of it. But this guy could probably play fullback, wing, or centre, and it's Will Penasini.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah,
He was the one I was tossing up with Johnston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Like I
Just
just
because-
toss up with Dom Young. He's a good player.
Paramount, I think he's got a lot of upside. Apparently, he was in the same King's College team as Suwali, and if you speak
And
to the
Ilias, I
judges, they say
Yeah.
Penasini was the player in that
Yeah,
team.
Parramatta were very patient with Penasini this year as well.
I really
Like,
liked that though. And when they signed Opacek, I thought it was always clear that he was there to be
a stopgap.
there
Yeah.
until Penasini was ready to go, whenever that was going to be, if that was this year or next year or whatever. And I also liked how they trusted Penasini with only a couple of games under his belt to play in a semi-final.
yeah.
Like, that ain't easy. That ain't easy, you know?
And
That
yeah,
ain't easy for any young player, let alone
Do you know,
in
do
first
you know,
year.
do you know the thing not a lot of people said was Penasini and Hayes Dunster often played on the same edge, and for 2 guys with sub 10 first grade games under their belt, that's a lot of pressure to
fair
go
rap.
down that same
Yeah,
side. And
absolutely.
they both held up their end of the
did.
bargain,
Very much so.
What we're getting through this draft too is Campo's on the clock again, but I'll talk. Getting through the draft, you're starting to see that like the NRL right now, there's so many good young outside backs, young forwards, and fuck all spine players. And I don't know what's going on there, but like you go through it, like we can still. You just named another great young back, Hayes Dunster, is not being picked, who could easily be picked. Lots of good other young backs, no one's picked. You know, I really like Aaron Schopp, I mentioned earlier, not picked at the Bulldogs, starting in that, and he hasn't got picked in this thing.
Morgan Harper's
Morgan
not been picked.
we
Jason
can't
Saab
find
not been picked.
fucking halves like this, and I know it's a problem in the game, and also with how the game's currently played. That it's the hardest ever been to play as a half. Is what it is now.
You know who could still go as a half today?
Yeah, well, you should.
If you
you
gave
could
him,
pick
if you gave him a week's notice.
Chris Sandow, baby.
Not even a week.
you don't even
Not even a week.
You don't lose it. He
Just
said
get him
himself.
together, baby.
But yeah, and like I picked Ezra Mam, right, because he is like one of the only young halves I have any faith in, or one with any raps on him, because there's just not that many. There's about 10 million good young centres though.
All right, it's back to you, Nick.
Okay, so this is another one of those ones where it's a bit of an indictment on all of us that we haven't thought about him to this point. And I only thought about him just now because somebody mentioned Penasini, and I was thinking about Parramatta's centres this year. Murata Niokore still on the board?
Oh, I knew he was there. That was my next pick.
Did you? Oh, I'm just, yeah. Well,
You beat me.
I'm just taking him.
He
I'm
can
just
play
taking
anywhere.
him.
He can play
He
anywhere.
can play middle. He
He
can
was
play
gonna be my
edge. He can
bench
play
utility.
centre. Bro, he's
Good
on my
bench
team.
player.
He's on my
Yep,
team for
solid.
sure. And I'm getting him at a better wage than the Warriors. So it's
Yeah,
fine.
any wage
Very
is better
true.
than them.
Mitchell.
He has to pick Waggle Blake now.
Me, no. So I have left one bench spot. I have a bench spot, a boom rookie, and I have a vibes guy.
How can you still have a boom rookie? You've picked like 4 rookies.
I know, because I still haven't picked that spot there. I haven't filled that. They're in my lineup. So I'm going to give you 2 rookies for the price of 1. I'm picking 2 more boom rookies, and I'm going to pick a after that, and then I'll pick a vibes guy. So the what I'm looking now for a rookie, it's like there's a couple of really good young forwards still doing around the traps, but there is the guy I mentioned earlier, and he's going to fill my boom rookie spot, and that's Dean Mariner, who I mentioned earlier, and he's the centre for Aussie schoolboys this year. He had 7 18s games this year, 8 tries, 3 assists, 11 line breaks, 160 metres per game in their 70-metre games. Really hard hitter, really good defender. I think he has a really big future in the centres in the NRL. So I picked Mariner. There's a couple of good young backs. I won't mention them yet. I'll mention them after the... Actually, fuck it. They can.
I think we've all taken our boom rookie.
No, you have. I know. So there's another guy.
I have not.
There's up in North Queensland. There's also a guy Dudley. I don't know how to say his last name. It's like Dutoy, winger or centre up there. Who
Dutois.
Dudley
Dutois.
Anyway, he
is he one of the Dudley boys?
He is now. He has
Welcome
acceleration that
Dudley.
reminds me of
Tables.
Matt Burton's, even though he's not built like him. Like he hits his full speed after like 2 steps, and he scored a couple of tries this year when it's like they just threw a pass to him and just ran right past his dude, and the dude just like. Are you allowed to just run that fast? So he's great. And then also the fullback from the schoolboys, not going to make my next boom rookie pick, but I don't know how to say his name properly either because I haven't heard anyone read it. Do you want to give that a go, George? Raghareev Warwick.
Raghareev Warwick, and he's a Kummel.
Yeah, he is. You know him. There you go. Ragharev Warwick is a Kummel. He's a schoolboys fullback right now. Only played 6 games in the 18s or 20s. Again, no one's played any games the last 2 years. But in those 6 games, 7 tries, 5 assists, 8 line break assists, 7 line breaks, 120 metres a game, and he's in the Cowboys on the fast track in preseason this year. But didn't pick any of them. Going back, I picked Dean Mariner, but I wanted to mention the boom rookies because again, we're called boom rookies. People come here for the rookies, and why not?
Yeah. All right. So I've got left my Super League, my boom rookie, and my vibes guy. So, I was actually Googling Manasi Fainu earlier to see if I could pick him or how his court case was going. But it turns out his brother's got $1 million contract with Manly.
Yeah, he's meant to be super hectic.
Yep, so I'm taking Latu Fainu. Because he's apparently great. And he's...
You know, so people would laugh at that, but that's exactly how rugby league recruitment works. It's like,
100%.
we got Glenn Stewart that way. We got the other Jake Ravojeviches. Fuck it, we'll have the other Fainu.
And the way Manly's juniors and recruitment have gone the last 18 months.
Yeah, they go to Parramatta, right?
But why would you bet? Why would you bet against them?
No,
Why would you bet against them?
And look, because by all accounts, one of the nicest men in rugby league,
Getting picked.
beloved by all. He's getting a job. He won't be on the field. He'll be schmoozing the corporates in the stands, in the Edwin Smith stand at Adelaide Oval. It's your man, Jake Tebojevic.
Oh, I can't believe it.
I knew you'd pick him. I knew you would.
I can't believe it.
He's a nice boy, and that slot is reserved for a nice boy. So he's in.
Okay, and my last... This is why the guy I'm picking last... I can't pick him as a boom rookie because he actually played this year. Played for Souths. Davi Moali.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Has been likened... Well, I love this already, by the way. We're getting next Payne Harsels already, and he's one of them. So, he's the only young guy...
fertile crop.
Only young crop
Payne
in the
Harsels.
juniors with similar numbers to Xavier Var. 160 metres a game. Scored 7 tries this year, broke line 9 times in 13 games, 62 tackle breaks. Played in every level this year, pretty much.
Mitchell, an unnamed source told us that he was sick. So
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
all in.
Yeah, and that's again, I'm giving you the names. I've said it already. Giving you the names. You're gonna know, 2023. You're gonna know these guys. They're gonna be great then. And they'll all be
Dave Moali is
they'll all be
apparently
sugar gliders.
awesome.
They'll all be sugar gliders.
Well, you didn't lock up Jakey
The
T,
Shugs.
baby. I'll tell you that much. All right, Nick, your second last pick.
It's on to me. I need a vibes guy. If I want good vibes, if I want someone,
Hurry up and pick Joey Lalor.
a really nice young man,
King vibes.
and a good
Just
clubman.
hurry up and pick him.
Jared Kroger.
Oh, okay.
Come on,
Yes.
come on. You really think I was going to let him go? He's my boy. He's on the team.
George, your last 2 picks.
So I think my last pick is the good vibes guy, and he's probably at the back end of his career.
It's an important role.
It is.
Couple of good vibes picks.
In fact, I actually think I'm. Oh no! I see what I got to do. I got to pick a fullback. So my vibes guy is going to be Elliot Whitehead. He is the Raiders' social secretary.
Oh,
He can ball play a fair bit. You know, his best days are probably behind him. But if you want anyone to go in the trenches with you, it's probably Smell.
Mm.
And then the last position I've actually got to pick is going to be a fullback. So I'm going to pick, if this uploads, I'm going to pick Matt Duffy, but I'm going to shift.
You're shifting your fullbacks again.
I'm going to shift Archer Morg.
This is great.
I'm going to shift
Compelling
Archer
radio.
Morg into my starting side.
Yep. This is showing the versatility Arthur Morg.
And I'm putting Matt Duffy, in Reggie's where he belongs.
Where he belongs.
Jesus Christ. All right. Nick, your final pick.
I still have a starting spot in my team
How has this happened?
because I wanted it to happen this way.
Okay.
It's been planned.
Who are my wingers, guys? Talk to me.
I haven't looked that
One's
far.
Daniel Tupou,
Yeah.
and the other is Jordan Rapana.
Yeah.
Okay.
And who do you need with Jordan Rapana?
You need Joseph
You need
Leilua.
Joseph Leilua.
I said
He's my
that last
Super League
round. Hurry the
pick. He's
fuck
my
up.
Super League pick. Leipana's back. We're doing it. From Featherstone to Canberra to Camden. Yes, we're doing it all again. 2016 never ended for some of us.
The problem...
Let us go.
Pick of the draft. Pick of the draft.
I mean, look, obviously, like, a terrible pick, but, like, this is, like...
Obviously an awful
like,
pick.
the problem is, George, like, the number of simps that will just be like, oh, Joey Leilua, lol, Nick Campton, lol, and just, like, think
That's
this
like
is a
me
good
and Matty
idea.
McPhee.
How
That's
could
who's
he-
Terrible.
left. That's
How
who's
could-
left.
Terrible.
Look at you turning your back on democracy
Sorry.
itself. The people have spoken.
We're
and
aligned.
if in one voice they cry Leilua, who are you to turn against
You
them,
are
sir?
nothing
Who
more...
are you to deny
You
them,
are
sir?
nothing more than a pandering Peter, and I
would
wish
ju-
you a good day.
I would just like to raise a couple of points. First of all, Joey Leilua is actually going to Featherstone. They are in the championship.
Ooh.
Nah, it's fine. It's,
I disagree. It's not fine.
Mitchell, I'll let it slide.
will
But-
you?
Mitchell Leilua without Rapana is like Hull without Oates. And
And for
we've gotta
those
let them be
Australians out there,
together.
that's something people used to watch on TV.
So you've got to let the boys play.
I need them both. I wouldn't. It's like the town. I wouldn't have them without you. I wouldn't have you without them. I need them both. I need the magic. Let's fucking
Ultimate
go.
panda pick. Mitchell.
Well, a lot of the good vibes guys are gone. I think my vibes. I have to be a vibes man for the boardroom. So
Keep the suits out at West. Happy.
I have to. So at the Shugs, and it's quite tough now because I think a lot of the good vibes guys are gone, and my vibes coming from guys like Hargreaves. That's my vibes man.
Yep.
And Victor Radley bringing the beers energy. That's good vibes.
I know who you should take, but do you have the courage to do so?
Is it Mitch Barnett?
It's not. No,
It's Josh King for the Miners.
I
It's
want
one
to
of
pick
his
Benji
guys, but-
Marshall, but I can't.
No, you
He
can't. You
retired.
can't. It's another one of your guys, though.
Which one? Do you?
Sam
tell me?
Thaiday.
No.
No,
It's MILF. Oh,
well, no,
no.
make your pick, and I'll tell you who.
No,
it
no,
is.
you no, I don't want to mix this.
No.
No.
One
One
That's
of
not
my
how this
guys
works.
now it's embarrassing me.
Make
He's
it-
embarrassing
He
me.
can't call it for you.
I was going to pick Ryan James, but that's not the right one.
He has. No.
Huh? I mean, what?
Make your pick. Make your pick.
I just said I was going to pick Ryan James, but now you're throwing me. So now I have to think of who I'm missing from one of my guys.
No. So Ryan James is good for vibes. Ryan James
Yes.
is not your vibes.
I know
though.
he's not good for my
Think
vibes.
about your vibes.
Well, I can't pick Pangai. He's taken.
I know. Think bigger.
Hey, Mitch, but
Think
Joe,
further back in the
Hey,
past.
hey,
This
Mitch-
is killing. Just make your pick.
hey,
Make
Mitch,
your pick.
Mitch,
Make your pick, and I'll tell you what it is.
Joe, I think Gallic is available.
No,
And
he
I
was.
think-
He's no. We're
Joe,
good
I'll phone you
vibes.
up.
Bigger.
Mitch, I'm pretty sure he wants you to pick Corey Oates.
That's not a vibes, man.
It's not on the still on the board, but
Yeah.
no,
Tom
it's not
Flagler?
him.
Fuck.
Just do it, Mitch. Come
Even
on.
though he's ruined me. I have time. People have time. They've listened to an hour and 20 of this. What's another 5 minutes?
Thank you, by the way, for doing that, all of you.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
You know the
who have
the
I
real
missed in
number
my
one pick.
guys?
The listeners.
The listeners
The
are the
listeners.
number
One
one.
of my
That's
men that's
pandering.
still
That's
in the,
pandering,
that's still in the
baby.
NRL. Still in the NRL.
He's not still in the NRL.
You've
not.
you have rattled
He's
him
not.
here.
He's still playing. He's still playing, but he's not in the NRL.
Oh, is it Carmichael Hunt?
No. But that would have been a good one too.
Not in the NRL. Is he in Super League?
Yes.
I've already picked my Super League guy. I can do,
Oh,
I can
well.
do it again.
Yeah, but you can swap.
Can you please just end this?
No. He's got to pick. He's
this-
got to pick. He's got to get
we're
it
doing,
wrong.
We're doing 10 questions. No, no.
He's got to pick it wrong. He's got to get it wrong in
I
front
have
of
to get it
him.
wrong.
Awful.
That's killing me. English Super League, one of my guys who would be good for my vibes. And there's probably
Your vibes specifically.
my vibes specifically. Tuila Lahia.
No. Close. Close. Not
Shout out to
quite.
Huddersfield legend.
This is terrible vibe. Okay, I'm just going to take Ryan James, be wrong. That's my vibes guy.
Who
And
was it? Nick.
Kenny Edwards.
No.
Fuck, that was
Yeah,
my
that's-
guy.
Yeah. I haven't taken my Super League player yet.
But you're right. You're right. That was definitely my vibes.
Um,
But I didn't think vibes, man. But fuck,
the
wouldn't
last,
I love him.
the
come
last
off the
pick
bench
of the
and
draft,
diving.
Mr. Irrelevant, a guy in
Should
the
have been Jake Dvojevic.
It should have been Alex Johnston.
It should
I
have been.
should have left it. I should have left it for him.
I know who it's going to be.
Do you, all right.
Surely.
I will.
No one asked you to believe in him.
But
you
we
did
all do.
anyway.
No, I had to pick a Super League player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, otherwise, obviously.
Otherwise, it would have been Corey Allen. Yeah.
A guy whose tires I've pumped on this podcast many times.
Did Blake Taft not get picked?
Yeah, he didn't. a guy's tires
What a
are
fall
pumped on
from
this
Grunts.
podcast. A guy who both you and I, Mitchell, repeatedly when we've talked about this NRL team, thought, why isn't this guy in first grade? Now he's fucked off to England, and that's Cade Cust.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's
that's
my
cool.
that's my
I thought you were
20.
going to say David Fussatua.
No, that's not my guy.
Whenever,
I should wind back and get rid of Worms and bring the Fuss in.
Yeah, well, it's too late now.
by the way, whenever I hear
you
the Fuss's
weren't-
name, I always think of Darryl Halligan doing the commentary.
Four try
For the
Fussatua.
Oh, David Fuss is doing a mean finish in the corner.
That was very good, George.
All right, so that's our 21s.
It's
They're
fantastic.
locked and loaded. I've got mine written down. I'll
So
run
do
through
I.
it first. We'll run through all 4 of ours. So I've got at fullback Joseph Sawali, on the wings Alex Johnson and Xavier Coates, in the centres Jesse Ramey and Campbell Graham, halves Jamal Fogarty, Drew Hutchison, props Nelson Asafa-Solomona, Tom Burgess, hooker Sam Verrills, edges Jeremiah Nanai, Ryan Madison, Jairo as the lock, the benches Lindsay Collins, Tarek Sims, Isaac Targo, and Tavita Totola. 18th man Jackson Hastings, rookie Latu Fainu, vibes guy Jake Taboyevich, Super League guy Cade Cust. The Adelaide Fighting Mongooses make the top 8 with this team. It is a damn good team. Nick.
Okay, so I've got Dylan Edwards at fullback. I've got Jordan Rapana and Daniel Tupou in the centres. I've got Harley Smith-Shields and Joey Leilua. Sorry, I've got Rapana and Tupou on the wings. Smith-Shields and Leilua in the centres. Amone, Sexton in the halves. Front row of Clemmer, Robson, Linu. Back row of Kickow, Young, Yo. 18th man is Watson. Boom rookie is Howarth. Vibes guys Jared Croker. Let's fucking go. 257.
George, does that team-
I'll see you down at the Camden Hotel. The Milky Bars are on.
George,
mate.
does that team win 5 games?
Oh, I think the coaches, Sean Wayne is fighting for his future at this point.
Yeah.
Him and Madge are down centre link, but Sean Wayne can't sign on because he's
We
English.
might not win many games, but we'll win your hearts.
So the mighty Perth Bush Pigs are going for Arthur Morg at fullback.
This is already a disaster.
Murray Talangi on one wing, Ken Mamalo on another, Nick Kotrick and Paul Morovsky. Shout out to the former Yugoslavia in the centres. Scott Drinkwater,
Josip Broz Tito be proud of this one.
Scott Drinkwater and Jerome Hughes in the halves. Moses Leota and Siasiwa Takiaho as our props. Josh Hodgson as the hooker. Kurt Capel and Kenny Bromwich in the back row. Tyrone Peachy is coming in to start a lock with Tui Kamikamitha, Corey Harawira, Isaac Liu and William Pennicini on the bench. Elliot Whitehead's my culture guy. Matt Duffy's just floating around somewhere. My rookie is Paul Alamotti, and because I was abused for this selection, Tepai Maroa makes way for Peachy, who
You coward.
aforementioned lock.
You
I-
didn't stand by your boy.
I feel
Did I-
really bad for Jerome Hughes
Did-
that he has to go through
Did,
this whole
did,
season.
George, did you enjoy drafting? Did you enjoy the process? Because you tend to rebuild in like a year's time.
You know, there's only one expansion draft, right? We don't do this every year.
I like that Nick's jumped on board to try and hammer George. He
Dude,
seems
my-
also terrible.
Dude, my team's hectic. You
Oh,
see
your
yours?
team
my
is
God.
hectic.
My
Okay.
team fucking rules.
And Mitchell, your team.
My
team will
team,
fight
I've
the wall.
taken some stump throws and I like it. So fullback Tessie New,
Yep.
the wings Ronaldo Mulatalo and Xavier Savage. There's some fucking speed there, baby.
Okay.
Centers Dane Gagai and Dom Young. Halves some real flair here.
You're
It's not
definitely
a
making the
racial
top 8 in
connotation at all.
2027.
Ezra Mam and
doing
Cheryl
here?
Harris Tavita. Front row, Regan Campbell-Gillard and Jario Hargreaves. Hooker Cam McInnes. The back row, an all Origin-ish back row. Angus Crichton, Tyson Brazell and Victor Radley.
An origin adjacent back row.
It seems like an Origin back row. The bench, TC Rabadi, Xavier Vara, Nathan Brown and Davi Moali. And the reserves, etc. My Super League player, Alex Walmsley, Anthony Mulford, the utility, Dean Mariner, my boom rookie, and Ryan James, my vibes man. That should have been Kenny Edwards, but I fucked up.
Do the three of you know there's not another draft after this that you're tanking for?
Guys, can you believe that Bungard thinks he picked the best team? That's
Yeah,
so.
it's
That's so. Like it's just.
Well, you've been,
I can't believe that
Nicholas,
happened.
you've been hammering George. You haven't been hammering me. So,
The guy's been hammering.
I can hammer you if you
He's
want.
hammered me for one pick, and in my starting 13 for round
you drafted
one.
a French child to play the most important position on the field.
Yeah, but have you seen the bloke play?
I have no idea who he is. You might have made him up. I'd be none the wiser.
No, but that's the thing. I feel like.
Well, you could have said Jacques Cousteau. How the fuck do I know? Who gives a shit?
Well, he was coming from the deep. I'll tell you, I feel like when you come out of any draft, a Supercoach draft, an NFL
Yeah.
draft, a stupid expansion draft, if you don't feel good about your team, you've just let yourself down. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like we all feel feel great about
The
our
entire
team.
point-
Also,
and that's
the
what
worst
matters.
thing you feel, the worst you feel though is usually when the team's better. I like my team too much, therefore it sucks.
The entire, the entire point of a draft, be it this, be it fantasy sports, be it anything else, is to say, "Nice pick, dickhead," to your friend when they make a pick you don't like.
I feel like
and we
I
said
feel
that
like
a
we've done
lot
that a
about
fair
one
bit,
pick,
yeah.
about one pick particularly.
Pretty much, there was really no other nice pick dickheads apart from that. Like rest of them were pretty complimentary to one another, which makes me uncomfortable.
Tepai, if you're listening, I love you, man.
I mean, I sent you the
Clearly.
21st man under one crack under pressure immediately, but other than that, I love your Tepai. But no, it was good fun. I hope you enjoyed the process. People can, I don't know, rate the teams or something.
Oh,
You
yeah,
gotta- you
that'll
gotta-
be fair and balanced.
We got to get the graphic designer
Well, I
of
mean,
the show to
No,
get up a
if,
thing.
If I
and
wanted to
someone
pick a
votes
popular
and-
team, Bungard, I wouldn't have picked players nobody's seen play.
Yeah.
I picked
I
players.
don't. Mitch, I just don't
Balance.
know as much about the children as you do.
Yes.
So I just pick
I'm a
guys
big-
who I think are good
Big,
now.
big kids
There's a-
guy.
there's
That's what you're saying. You're a big kids
Kids
guy.
guy.
That's the
Mate,
same
I
rap.
have got
That's the
tape
same.
at home. You'll never not believe what people other than AJ
That's the same rap they gave George Pell. And look what
That's a
happened.
fucking that's a fair
Hey,
point.
got him.
Innocence happened.
Yep. You know what that's called? Justice. All right. We've strayed off the path somewhat.
Yeah, we should.
As
I
George
reckon in a
Pell
week
did
or two
one
we should
fateful
have a look
autumn
again at it.
morning.
I don't know.
All right. So we'll put those teams up online. You guys can, debate, say who won, say who lost, all that shit. Doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters when you think about it.
We could,
but
all, as Aiden Caesar once said, we could all die tomorrow.
yeah, that's exactly right.
I didn't
What
realize
day
he was
that
such
was.
a nihilist.
Nor did I.
He kicked 3 field goals.
Have
that
you ever
day.
tell that story really quickly?
Oh, I haven't told that one on air, I don't think. But so I interviewed Aiden Caesar in the sheds after that game.
Where he kicked 3 field
Canberra
goals
against
against the
Cronulla.
Sharks.
Canberra against
Yeah.
Cronulla at Shark
Second
Park,
in
where
September.
Gallen's milestone game as well, where he kicked 3 field goals. And I was talking to him, I was like, mate, they've signed George Williams. What are you going to do for next year? Blah, blah, blah. And he goes, mate, we could all be dead tomorrow.
So nothing matters.
And I'm like, you know what, Aiden?
He was
Very
right.
good point.
He was right.
But he didn't die, and he's
But you
apparently
know whose
doing quite
career
well.
died 3 years ago? Tepai Maroa's.
And on that note, we are going to get out of here.
I threw up the alley-oop and
What
it just slammed
is
it
dead
down.
never
All
dies except for Tepai Maroa's career and hairline.
Clarke is in the corner crying. You hate to see it.
He's on
From
the bench, motherfucker.
from the state-sanctioned
playing
media, Nick Campton. Anything to plug?
That's me done, you comrade. Read my stories.
How many Kim Jong-un pieces you got coming this week? The glorious leader had 12 hit-ups for 173 meters and 3 tries.
He's got something about him. I was going to draft him. I was going to do it, but I had to take Leilua.
Fair enough. George Clarke, where can people find your work?
Follow at AAP Sport or follow me at GLR Clarke.
I'll ask you a
On
similar
Twitter.
question to what I asked you last time. If they can only follow either you or Campo, who should they follow?
Oh, me, because my ego is
Yeah,
massive.
and if you see a weird account online like at M with a lot of numbers defending Tepai Maroa a lot, it's not his burner, it's George Clarke's burner.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
That's fair.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, I'm
All right.
here always.
Yes,
That's my
we're always
promotion.
here. We're never going anywhere. Our patrons, again, we're doing this in the
Mi-
lounge room.
mi-
We're
Mitchell
doing this
Big
live.
Anthony Milf.
I don't have the list of all of you in front of me. My ding dong is hard and I am sad. Matty McPhee, all the rest.
Party keg.
Party cake,
Big
all your
Chief
favorites.
69.
All your
All your
favorites.
faves.
Jack
We love
Coleman.
you all. We'll be back next week. Say goodbye, Mitchell.
Goodbye, Mitchell.
And it's goodbye from me.